Hello and welcome to another edition of ProtoMet's First Impressions, where I give my thoughts on the first episode of any new tokusatsu show. Around this time last year, I gave my thoughts on the first episode of Dogengers Nice Buddy, a series that was a sequel to the previous year's Dogengers, which I had not seen at the time. But I enjoyed Nice Buddy, and I did actually manage to get a chance to watch through the original Dogengers before Nice Buddy had finished airing. So I'm going into this series, the third Dogengers entry, Dogengers High School, knowing everything I need to know about the characters. Not that it really matters in this particular instance, because while the characters from the original two show seasons are indeed present in this series, they're kind of taking a backseat to new characters. Specifically, it's focusing on a high school girl by the name of Mako, who is utterly average. Painfully average, even. Like, she is literally the average in everything. She has the average grades of her class. She has the middle rank in her kendo class. She looks completely average. And it frustrates her. She wants something exciting. She wants to be something other than normal, which is a good way of implementing Dogengers' signature goofiness and kind of oddball humor. But just kind of... Also, she lives in Fukuoka, which, as previously established in the previous two seasons, has quite its share of local heroes. And this episode showcases not only the Dogengers, but also a number of other local heroes from Fukuoka, many of whom I don't recognize, but I'm not terribly familiar with the local hero scene. I wish I were more familiar with it, though, because it does look like a fun scene to be a part of. But then one day, Mocha, while she's out... Mako. That's a different series altogether. Mako is walking to school with her friend Ryuko when they happen to spot Mako's crush, Daisuke, and which Ryuko point blank mentions is her crush, which surprises Mako because she didn't realize other people knew she had a crush on Daisuke. Anyway, they see him getting shook down by three thugs, three street thugs, one of whom is played by the actor who played Kamen Rider Snipe in Kamen Rider X-Aid. And they're trying to shake him down for money. Mako decides to use this opportunity to do something exciting and winds up getting shook down herself. Now, by this point, we've realized that she has lost her student pass, and just as she's about to get shaken down for money from the thugs, because really, what was she expecting to do? Trying to butt into this? When all of a sudden, Rookie, the star of the first season and returning character from the previous season, shows up to save the day and chase off the thugs. Now, while this is going on, the lead villain from the first season, Kamen Yaiba, is attempting to rob a bank, and his robbery attempt is thwarted by the Dogengers, who just kind of show up and beat up the bad guys. But while this is going on, the villainous narrator of this series, Shaberryman, has gotten his hands on Mako's identification card, and he decides to use this as an opportunity to, later on, do nefarious things, which I will get to. But, back to Mako, since this is, the show is clearly trying to focus a lot of its attention on her. At school, she is kind of lost in thought because she is remembering just how cool Rookie was in saving her, which, considering that his name is literally Rookie and he is a rookie hero, nice job, Rookie. But she was so distracted with her own thoughts that she didn't even realize that the rest of the class had been selecting candidates for the upcoming school festival committee, and they pretty much unanimously voted for her at the suggestion of Mako's rival, Akine, who is kind of a pretentious girl, to put it nicely. I mean, she's not terribly wrong in her assumption that because of how average and ordinary Mako is, she has nothing going on, and so has plenty of free time to actually take care of all the committee work. But they did kind of just vote her in without her saying anything or even being aware that it was happening. So she's rather upset. Also, another tokusatsu cameo. We get the actor who played the somewhat antagonistic but well-meaning detective from Kamen Rider Agito, rival detective. I think he was also in Fies, but I can't be bothered to rewatch that series to find out. But that's just me. But he gets a quick cameo here as the class teacher. But so yeah. Mako is stuck with planning the school festival. But she does get help from Ryuko. However, when Ryuko starts to get hungry, Mako decides to go out to get something for them to eat when she is kidnapped by Shibari Man, who has figured out that she is the daughter of a fairly prominent company in Fukuoka and intends to use her to ransom some money for himself. Also, we get a moment that reveals that Shibari Man is like the only human villain of the evil organization that were the main villains of the first season. I think there was an episode either in the previous season or the season before that also revealed this, but I didn't recall that offhand, so it was kind of a surprise to me. But we don't actually get to see his face, despite the fact that he does actually take his helmet off, which is kind of a cool nod to the fact that, yes, he's wearing a helmet. Of course he is. He's a guy in a suit. But anyway, he has kidnapped Mako with the intention of ransoming her. And she picks up a stick and, is completely willing to defend herself, despite the fact that she is incredibly ordinary. And even though this is an exciting moment, she's still treated as just an ordinary girl. And she sheds a tear over this frustration with herself, which, as it turns out, ends up summoning some sort of weird spirit thing, which swears fealty to her for some reason, and turns itself into a sword sheath. No sword, just the sheath. But this spirit tells Mako that the sword is like in her heart, in her will and determination, and so she decides to embrace this opportunity, and as a result manifests a sword which she draws, and in doing so becomes a costumed hero, which is how the first episode ends, with her becoming a superhero for the first time. This series, I am definitely intrigued in the direction that Dogengers is going for this one. It's still clearly very much a laugh-out-loud comedy series, but I do like that we're taking the characters that had been the focus of the previous two seasons and shoving them into the background to focus on new characters. Who knows, we might actually get more screen time from some of the other Fukuoka heroes that showed up in this episode. So, I also like the fact that this is kind of a high school comedy that also is a superhero comedy. So that works just fine. It's a nice blending of the genres, which has been done in tokusatsu before, high school drama and superhero. So it's not unusual, but I think it's a nice change of pace for Dogengers. The last two seasons were kind of focusing pretty heavily on tokusatsu specific elements, and this one, especially last season, But this one is definitely kind of taking the tokusatsu a bit step back while still having it be a big part of the series. So I'm definitely interested to see what's going to happen with Mako and her new sword sheath friend, spirit, guardian, servant, whatever. Anything else? I really should check out that Kuroitsu anime that came out recently. I think it finished recently, but I do know that the Dogenger team pop up in like the first episode of that. So I really should check that out. That's like a tokusatsu themed anime focusing on like the villains. Haven't had a chance to watch that. There's also been a new anime. I can't recall the series title. Something about after the world conquest, in which the red member of some hero team falls for one of the female leader villains from a villainous organization that apparently burned like half of the world not too long before the series. So they're both on opposite sides of the conflict, but they also kind of want to date, and I want to check that out. I will as soon as I can. Although admittedly that premise doesn't seem like anything new. I'm pretty confident I've run across that kind of trope before, even just in stories specifically focusing on that, but I'm definitely going to check that out. I might do first impressions of those, though I am really late on the Kuroitsu since I think that one finished, like I said before, but it is what it is. I've had a pretty busy schedule in my personal life, so don't worry, it's mostly my fault. But I do recommend that if you get the opportunity, check out the first episode of Dogengers High School. And in doing so, hopefully it will spark an interest in checking out the first 2 seasons of Dogenger and Dogenger Nice Buddy. Because those are great comedic shows with quite a bit of action to them, yes. The production value is quite good for a show that's focusing on local heroes. So I greatly appreciate that, and this 3rd season is looking to just continue on with that trend of high quality local hero focus stories. So I'm all for that. So until next time, this has been me, ProtoMet. See ya.